What is up, everybody? Today we are in Brickell. We're gonna go check out the Underline. This is an update video to one that I made a couple years back. As you guys see there, this is the Underline. We're at the very beginning, right on the Miami River. This is a 10-mile linear park, starting from this exact point and going all the way down, crossing different municipalities. You can see the mile marker is actually right on that, and we're underneath the Metrorail, as the name implies. If you've ever been to New York City, the High Line is basically above ground. There used to be a railroad system. Well, this is the Underline. Similar in a sense that it is using underutilized space and creating public space. And it's actually really good. In 3 phases, like I mentioned, we're gonna check out all the amenities, things to offer, and see how construction is going with phase 3. But we're gonna show phase 1 and 2, which are completed, and we're gonna do a full walkthrough to see as far as we can get. I've got my scooter, but if I lose the charge, don't worry, we're gonna get on the Metrorail and ride it. So we're underneath the Metrorail, as you guys can see there. And we're just gonna keep on walking and riding along and see what we can find in the Underline. All right, we've got our start right here, our starting point. 0 miles, 0 kilometers. Now, unlike the High Line, which has no intersections because it's above ground, this is at ground level. So you do have, while it's a 10-mile linear park, you do have some intersections you're gonna have to go through. And they modified them to make it easier for pedestrians to go through. This light has been going on for quite a while. We're still waiting to cross here. It's been a few minutes. All right, we got the walk sign now. All right. They got food vendors. They got one here. They had one by the Miami River as well. But now we're gonna, they also have public restrooms that are free of use, which is very hard to come by in Brickell. This is new since our last update a few years ago. Interbike on the Underline. So they're not using City Bike. They're using a different company here. And they are orange, very vibrant color. You can see these, similar to City Bike. You just pay at the kiosk and then unlock your bicycle. But we're coming up on a major amenity here. This is basically a soccer pitch and a half court. So we're gonna walk in and show you guys. They've got a designated stretching area right by the entrance. They've got a water fountain, which you'll find a lot of across the Underline. Got a bench to sit at, or maybe use it as a workout equipment. Another piece of workout equipment here. And then we've got the soccer pitch and half court. So I guess you kind of have to share space with people that want to play soccer and folks that want to shoot some hoops. But again, this is underneath the Metrorail. As you'll find, the entire park goes underneath it. We're standing right next to those 2 pillars that hold up the Metrorail system. That is this right here. And that facility behind it is also visible in this. You guys can see 2017, this was just a pile of dirt. So I'm very excited for the Underline because look at what it's been transformed into, a public space where folks can come and play soccer, play basketball, work out underneath the Metrorail, space that was again underutilized. It's pretty exciting for me. Coming up on another crossing to get to the other part. It gets kind of annoying, but it does, I believe the crossings reduce as we go further south out of the Brickell core downtown area. I'm standing here in another public space. Right behind me is a stage that is used for, I believe, community events, like maybe public workouts, yoga sessions, where the instructor is on stage and folks are working out down below. This is also a new piece that has been added recently in the past couple of weeks. See if you guys can see that, where it puts out key information. Right now it's showing the stocks for Amazon, Meta, Netflix, and the Walt Disney Company, but it'll rotate. I believe it had some of the currency exchange rates on display for those from out of town. Maybe they want to see what the exchange rate is for their currency and our currency. And now it's showing the current weather. Clear skies in Brickell, Miami's neighborhood. Right on this column for the Metrorail, they've got the rules listed, the do's and don'ts. There you go. You guys can pause, screenshot if you want to read what the rules are. And here's another community space. They've got a table tennis. Here it says table right at the middle. I'm not sure where you get paddles or anything like. Maybe you have to bring your own, or maybe designated family days where they'll provide it. But if you bring your own, it's just here, the table. You just play table tennis. I found the other table. The other one says table. This one says water. The art piece is called water table. And you can see the water table depth of 2 feet and elevation 3 feet. Got a lot of crosswalks connecting to the other side of the street. Trash bins, recycling bins, places to lock up your scooter or bike. That would be pretty useful for me since I came with my scooter. Just walking on the side of the street. I believe this is a 50-foot long table. I mean, they're all just connected to each other. Communal table. A lot of folks can come together and eat. This does have a lot of, aside from the Metrorail, obviously there's a station right here, the Brickell station. It's passing above us right now. got bus connections too. This is the beauty of the Underline. So if you got heavily pedestrianized space underneath one mode of transportation, the Metrorail, you've got connections to the Metro bus, which is $2.25, and you've got connections to the trolley, which is free. And if you keep walking a little further down, which we're gonna pass by, we've got the Metro Mover, which is a free train that circulates around downtown in Brickell. Here's another food spot. We saw the empanada one. We got Inter Cafe, operating out of what looks like a shipping container. Menu's on the ground, but I'll zoom in on it so you guys can see the Brickell prices for coffee and pastries. Check this out. This wasn't here last time we came. That's why I'm doing an update video. You've got public art that you can just walk under. I mean, you're not gonna get the bright sunlight because of the trees, which we'll talk about. There's a lot of trees they added, and the Metrorail right above us. But look at this. Plenty of photo ops. I mean, I guess depending on the angle of the sun, if it's setting over there towards the west, you get some sunlight coming in. But this is really, really nice. Check this out. And we're gonna walk through here to get to the other side. Look at this. It's like the most Miami thing you will find here. It's like a symbol of Miami at this point. Check out this public art piece on the exterior of a building that has like different kinds of mechanical equipment inside. Otherwise, the exterior would be just concrete, dull, unappealing, and that's not really good for the brand they're trying to put out here. This is probably one of my favorite parts, the limestone that is clearly visible here on the side of the Underline, letting you know this is truly what's underneath most of South Florida. Just in case we've lost track of how far we've walked, this is the almost half-mile mark. On the other side, 0.70 kilometers. All right, so we're coming up on the end of phase 1 and entering phase 2 as we cross Southwest 13th Street. Got the Metrorail passing above us now. Pretty loud. All right, it's pretty loud. Phase 1 is only half a mile. This is the shortest phase out of the 3, and it costs $16.5 million. And it's got the amenities, as I mentioned. It's got free public restroom. It's got an outdoor gym with a half-court soccer pitch. It's got food vendors. It's got an area for public workouts. It's got a big screen showing relevant information. And it, again, is the shortest phase, half a mile. We're gonna enter phase 2 right now and continue on. We gotta cross the road again. Again, very, very much pedestrian friendly at each crossing. So we're just waiting on the walk sign to come on. They've got all kinds of striping on the road, so drivers are aware that this is a highly pedestrianized crossing. All right, welcome to phase 2 of the Underline. We just crossed a bunch of streets, passed by a supermarket, and now we are into an area with much more sunlight, which is very welcoming right now because it is a beautiful day. But the other side of this path is a bit shaded because it's directly underneath the Metrorail line. This is Lebanese food, operating out of a traditional food truck. So these are some of the items they offer here. This is really cool to see, honestly. This is phase 2, which is just over 2 miles, 2.13 miles in length, and it is a little more expensive than the first phase, even though it doesn't have as many amenities as that one did. Phase 1 was $16.5 million, phase 2, $20.1 million, so slightly higher. Just covers more ground, that's why it's more expensive, but everything is clean and paved, well landscaped all around with public art as well. Something interesting is that these pathways, this is 2017 by the way, these pathways have already existed for the most part and were built alongside the Metrorail in the 80s. It's called the M Path. They've just done an extensive upgrade and fully pedestrianized this with amenities as you guys saw in phase 1. We're gonna get into phase 2 and 3 more in detail as we progress, but look at this. It was just trees and dirt and just a path that looks nothing like it does today. I mean, look at the public vibrant art. Got landscaping by the road. Do you guys remember the dirt? This is what it looks like today. I mean, this is like a big difference, big jump. And that's what the Underline really is. They've added playground for families to bring their kids, proper marking for cyclists and pedestrians. I've gone ahead and switched to my glasses because safety, you know, I gotta have both hands on the handlebars. But here's a look at what most of phase 2 is. You're not really gonna get much amenities. Got crossings they've added. There's condos to my right. So up until this point, this was the Metrorail riding at ground level with us. It is now starting to slope upward and we'll finally get back the true Underline, because up until now, really it was just a path going around. Mile 1.25 or 2 kilometers. Cruising along, not many amenity spaces to talk about. There are some of those limestone seatings towards the middle. We got another crosswalk where I've got to push the button. I'm going to show you guys what this crossing looked like back in the day using Google Street View compared to what it is now. Since they've widened the path, it was just a very narrow path with the M path before the Underline. They've widened it, and they've also widened the crosswalks to the same width, which can range from 8 to 10 feet. Come across another of those rental bikes. So if you do end up checking out one of the bikes, shouldn't have a problem returning them along your way. We're now doing a first, not just for the channel, but for me in general. I've lived here for a long time and I've never done this. We're gonna get onto the pedestrian overpass that connects the Metrorail station for Vizcaya, connects to the Vizcaya Museum and Gardens. Woo, I'm walking up right now. I-95, as you may know, runs all along the eastern seaboard of the United States. This is where it ends, on the southern end. Here comes the Metrorail. There are 8 stations along the Underline, so if you get tired, you can just hop on at one of those stations and continue on your way. This is a good visual of the train above and a pedestrian space underneath. So I'm on the part where you'll see fewer crossings. We're still in phase 2, but I mean, it runs parallel to US 1, where there's not that many intersections, at least not in this part. So I just want to show you guys, it's just nothing but trail. I just had my first encounter with a driver. That highlights the inconveniences of having a crossing. No matter how they might add a longer length for people to cross or wider crosswalks, there's still the issue of the Miami driver that does not understand anything. I'm gonna put some footage from my glasses because I was recording it because I knew at some point one of these intersections are gonna piss me off. The walk sign was on, it had the countdown. It was like 10 seconds left and I'm on my scooter, so 10 seconds is plenty of time to cross. I start crossing and this pickup driver kind of hesitates, wants to go, but I took over. I'm like, I'm gonna go because the crossing countdown is still going and I have the right of way at that point. There you go. That's the Underline, the inconvenience of having any crossings at all compared to New York City's High Line where they're elevated. But there's nothing else we can do. This is still a great project. We're still going. We're about to enter phase 3 pretty soon. This is a much wider path than you guys have been seeing. You can see where they've widened the crosswalk from just the standard white stripes to the green. I'm standing at the Southwest 17th Avenue crossing, which means we're saying goodbye to phase 2 and entering phase 3, the longest phase, the most expensive one of the Underline. Phase 3 is over 7 miles, exactly 7.36 miles, making it the longest phase of the 3, consisting of a lot more amenity spaces than we saw in phase 2, and probably about the same amount, if not more, than phase 1, because we got a lot of room to work with. But the only thing I can't show you here will be some of the spaces that are not completed because phase 3 is still in progress. I showed you guys how much each of the other phases cost. This one costs $92.9 million. And these phases, by the way, are funded by the municipalities across the city of Miami, Florida Department of Transportation, the federal government as well, Miami-Dade County. So a lot of, and also contributors and donors contribute to the Underline and its functionality. Oh my God, how could I even forget? There is free Wi-Fi here. So we're gonna go ahead and test the speed of it. I like doing this in public spaces just to know how fast the Wi-Fi is. Obviously, you don't need the fastest Wi-Fi for public areas, but maybe just enough to get work done. It is taking a long time. So maybe only in the amenity areas. All right, stepping off the path, we have what's called the Leesfield Family Garden. More limestone rocks to sit on. You've got a sculpture here, US 1, just a couple feet away, so you're not really gonna have a relaxing sit down, but still it's very nice to see this all along the path. Here we have the Intergrove Gallery, where just a couple of hours ago, we missed it, they had a family fun day here. So this is a really cool plaza where a lot of vendors or activities can be done here, and it is all free to the public. Similar to the stage we saw in Brickell at the start of our journey, we've got another one here along phase 3. More poop pouches, recycling bin, trash cans, places to lock up your scooter and bike. I am going to use the water fountain to fill up. Can never have too much water. I am still struggling to connect to the Wi-Fi. I figured, I mean, a public space like this where they have community events, the Wi-Fi would be somewhere nearby. Came across another spacious part of the Underline with metal seating to my left. Got high tables over there and high chairs. And I kind of like how Although these businesses really are not suitable for pedestrians just walking by, I like how they have their doors accessible from this path. I mean, that's pretty cool. It'd be nice to see like a coffee shop. Here's another cafe truck similar to the one in Brickell. It is closed over here, but it was probably open for that event we just missed. Here's another crossing. It kind of goes around that over there. But I've noticed we've gotten like 40-second timer, which is really cool. I'm sure that was added time because of the Underline. At this part of the Underline, it opens up to another plaza with Grove Central to the right. This is a brand new development. I made an entire video on this, but there's a Total Wine here, there's a gym, there's apartments above, there's a coffee shop below, there's a Chipotle right over here. There is also a Target at this development underneath all of those apartments. And the Coconut Grove Metrorail station is just feet away. I did an entire video on this again. Go check it out because it is pretty cool. This development is really, really cool. It's very beneficial. Imagine living up there and just coming down and not only having access to the Underline, but the Metrorail. And there is a bus stop right over here as well, connecting to different parts of the area. As we continue riding along the Underline, I'd like to quickly mention that Phase 3 alone will have over 3,900 trees, which is a 62.5% increase over what used to be here. There will also be an additional 350,000 native plants. Phase 3 will also have the first ever microforest in South Florida using the Miyawaki method, which involves planting native trees close together, allowing them to grow 10 times faster and become self-sufficient in 2 to 3 years. I'm starting to see some orange construction barricades, and I hope we're not at the end of what's open, but I do know that Phase 3 is not completed, so at some point we will run into that issue. Yeah, this is definitely a newly opened part of the trail because all the trash bins are covered up. People still manage to drop off their dookie bags. There is a fence in our way, so I don't know, it was open on the other side that I came through, so I'm not really trespassing. Half of it was open when I came through, but I don't know. Is this a sign that I've reached the end of what's open? But I've got to cross this really busy road. We're still good. The trail continues. That one I think gave us 35 seconds to cross, so it's a good amount of time. I've seen 35 to 40 seconds. It says cyclists dismount, and it kind of just ends here. It's not... What? Have we reached the part where it's not completed yet? Like, it's not continuous at all. There's nowhere to go from here. Made it to the other side of the street. I had to walk south to the light over there and cross. But in the future, it will continue. So they're gonna have to make some sort of crosswalk over there because the Underline, in fact, continues on this side, and they're currently building out different condos. There's construction over there, and there's another Metrorail station just over there. So this, at some point, will have to be converted into a path that links to a new crosswalk over here. But we're gonna keep going and see how far we can go. They have gym equipment at this Metrorail station as part of the Underline, but look at how much bird poop it gets. Oh my God, imagine working out here and get bird poop landing on you. I don't know what they would have to do to fix this. Maybe add some kind of covering between the Metrorail platform and the gym equipment because it extends everywhere through here. So I followed the bike path and it just kind of dead ends here. Again, they're still constructing a building here, so I imagine when this is done, they'll implement some sort of area here for the Underline to continue seamlessly. I'm gonna check the other side and see if it continues, but I'm starting to lose hope here. Great news, it does continue. There are just some interruptions along the way that they're gonna have to hash out before it fully gets completed, but we got the Underline signage on the other side. Metrorail heading to the Douglas Road station right over there. We kind of had to go a little bit around the way to continue the path, but it does continue. Oh, look, trolley. We have entered another major amenity area. This is the Underline Plaza with another stage in the middle. A little bit reclined seating all around, tables, maybe place of coffee, beverage, food on the side there. I'm happy to see the Underline is still going. I didn't want this to end, but we're still walking, This looks like kind of like a beach area. It goes from pavement to rocks and almost sand-like. It's a little hard, but you can pretend like you're at the beach. There's an Oakberry acai truck just over there. Imagine they were open at some point today, this morning. All the events we missed. Without even seeing the signage, I guessed it was a beach. It's called the Urban Beach. So they did a good job because that's immediately what I thought of. We got the reclined seating, we got the beach umbrellas made out of aluminum. Something I've noticed along the Underline that I haven't really mentioned are these information markers written or stenciled onto the pillars that hold the Metrorail. So this one, for example, talks about the Bahamians that migrated to this area and helped build out early Coconut Grove, early Miami. And I think that's a really cool touch. People walking by can learn a little bit about the area they are currently passing through. By the Vizcaya Museum, they had a similar one like this, giving a little bit of a history lesson on the Vizcaya Mansion, the gardens there. So folks passing by can just read it. And if they like what they see and they're interested in Vizcaya, they go over that pedestrian bridge I showed you guys and go to the museum. So I think it's super cool that they have all this information about the neighborhoods you are walking through. This is what's known as the Bark Park, and it recently opened, I believe within the past week. Got big hills here. This is, I think, the big dog area, and then they got the small dog area over there. We're in a new city, by the way. We're no longer in Miami. We passed through that area. That's where we started at. We're now in Coral Gables, a completely different city. And as we continue down, we'll enter South Miami and so on. This goes all the way to Dadeland South, by the way. All 10 miles crossing through different municipalities, different Metrorail stations. And right now we're in Coral Gables, which I think is one of my favorite cities in the area. So I'm enjoying this. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna see where it kicks us off at, but so far we're still going. We've had some interruptions, but nothing too crazy. They'll be fixed before this is all completed. Well, this is as far as we're able to get. Look at that. It's not even completed. It's not accessible at all. It's just dirt. There's no landscaping. Oh man, I think we've ended our run here. So we made it just over 5 miles before reaching the end of the publicly accessible trail coming all the way from Brickell. Some amenities being built include pickleball courts, more workout equipment, a kayak launch at the Coral Gables waterway, microforest as we mentioned earlier in the video, a new public plaza, and pending funding, a 10,000 square foot skate park. Construction here in phase 3 continues with completion expected later this year. All right, I'm hovering between 1 and 2 bars, so I don't think we'll make it back just by scooter alone. So we're gonna take the Metrorail. Show you guys what that's like in terms of being on the Underline and wanting to just catch the train and continue where you're going. So we're taking the train to the platform. There goes the southbound train departing. We've got about 13 minutes until our northbound train arrives. We can just barely see Brickell where we started, all the way over there. It's the tower there with the crane sticking up. So as you guys saw, we were cut off phase 3. They're still building it out. By the way, they might have a skate park depending on if they can secure funding. There's supposed to be a skate park planned for phase 3. All right, back where we started. Woo! That took me over 3.5 hours, by the way. And we didn't even get to do the entire Underline. And I'm on a scooter. That was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the Underline. If you're from New York City, let me know how it compares to the High Line. I know I made some comparisons, but I think the Underline is a huge benefit to our community because it really was underutilized space. It was just grass. There was the old path, but that's it. No amenities. Now they added a restroom to Brickell, which is a very dense area in downtown Miami. They added a gym, they added basketball courts, soccer pitch, and different things for people to do, and it's all completely free. They have family-friendly events on the weekends. They've got markets, they got food trucks. So it is not just a dull path as it was for the past several decades. It is now vibrant. There's artwork and different sculptures, and they're using natural resources to make tables and chairs. So huge thumbs up to the Underline, the folks making this possible. I'll throw the link in the description for the Underline. Maybe we'll make a follow-up video when all 3 phases are completed. Phase 1 and 2 are done, but 3, as you guys saw, we got cut short. So if you're watching this, anyone from the Underline, I'd love to interview you for the follow-up I make, maybe in a year. Give it time to settle in once it's completed. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Signing off from downtown Miami, back to where I started. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.